What's up, brother? Hebrew Israelite situation. They went and we're going to talk about it today, where the brother was asking them why did they surround the church. You know, it was a whole bunch of them that surrounded Geno Jennings' church. Guess they, for what it's worth, they had something to say about the church and how he was doing it, pursuing it. You know, they have their own doctrine, you know, about Jesus Christ and about, you know, him being black and, you know, differs from what a lot of people normally hear. And it seems like the majority of the times that they do, you know, going around attacking people or disagreeing with people is mainly the Christians. You see them talking sometime to the Christians, and instead of, you know, really getting into the word line by line, precept by precept, sometimes they just sit there argumentative and trying to make it seem like they're on the wrong path. And they got, you know, they got all the they know the way, and there's only one way, and they got it. You know, basically that's what we see happening. So with that being said, I wanted to let you know that they also posed a question to him, asked a question, you know, asked him a question. Well, why didn't y'all surround, you know, the Catholic Church? And why didn't y'all surround the other or why didn't y'all surround the police department? And they asked him that because the most part is there's so many other things that they could have been doing, pursuing, versus just go after the Christians, you know. And he was asking them, why didn't they surround, you know, the mosque where the Muslims be at? Why didn't they surround the mosque where the Muslims be at? Why did they go surround the police department? And if you ask me, that was a very great question. Because instead of flexing your muscles and trying to call out, you know, those who love the Most High and also, you know, Christ, why just go after one separate group of people, you know? So that showed me also a lot, just looking at that situation, that whole operation, because once again, doctrine issues, you know, we do know also that there is a situation with the doctrines, and man has added the Roman ideas and paganism into the equation, you know, and knowing about the holidays and Jesus Christ's birthday on the 25th, we know that's a situation right there. That's definitely a situation we got to deal with. So once again, the Hebrew Israelites surrounded their group, for those who just coming on. And in the video that I put the short up so you can see it, the question was asked, why didn't they surround the police department? Why didn't they surround the mosque? Why was they just going after the Christian church? Maybe because he was getting money, you know. Maybe it was jealousy. Some people say it was maybe just because they don't agree with the doctrine. But the last I checked, there was a lot of different doctrines out there. Over 200 different doctrines in Christian and Christendom alone. So I think that was a great question. I thank y'all for y'all putting your comments in, because a lot of y'all put the comments in. Once again, you got the Jehovah Witness, you got so many other people. You got once again the Hebrew Israelites, all different. The Church of the Latter-day Saints. You got so many different type of Christians. You talk about the Baptists. You talk about the Protestants, and why didn't they go after them? You know. And then we see them sometimes on the corners, you know, and going in on people, not letting them talk, you know. And it's like one way to win a conversation is let people talk, you know. Let it not be about always just trying to be argumentative with people, not letting people talk and making people feel down and defeated, versus just pick them up with the truth. You know, we don't need to be putting people down. That's just one thing. They got a lot of good stuff that they share, but you got to keep your armor on. You know, because once the ego get in there, once the ego or the enemy get in there, you don't want to be in that conversation. So once again, I want y'all to put in the comments below if y'all think that was a good question, as far as them asking why did you take the Hebrew Israelites and surround the mosque? Because they got a doctrine, and the majority of them don't, you know, don't really talk about the Messiah. Yeah, the majority don't. And we know what the scripture says about denying Christ. And they also, in the video, if you listen to it on the last short I put, it also talks about why didn't y'all surround the police department with so many men being killed? Yeah, especially black men being killed. Why didn't y'all surround the police department? And I think that was a very good question to ask. With so many people being used and abused out here from law enforcement. Yeah, it's a lot going on. So I think that was a very, very great question. Y'all let me know in the comments below what y'all think about that. Y'all can let me know in the short or here if you want. But we just talking about that conversation that I put on the short. If y'all want to elaborate on what you think, have you ever been stopped? Have you ever went to the corner, talked to the Hebrew Israelites? What you think about what they're doing? What you think about their mission? Because some people think that's the way and the only way. And once again, that's just a denomination. That's just a denomination. And they do have some facts, but then there's some other stuff in there too, where I don't think they should straight just be going against other believers and telling them what they got is not in alignment with the scriptures. I don't believe they should be giving it up like that, because they're on the right path. They could have been in a whole lot of other places. They could have been in the mosque. And I'm not saying that, the mosque is bad, but I have a lot of people who go to the mosque, but they believe in Isa, Yeah. They read both Quran and the Bible. And, for the most part the word tells us that he got a lot of flock out there. He got a lot of groups out there that believe. And I even seen a conversation where Louis Farrakhan had apologized, because he was going hard on believers as well. And he kind of noticed he was talking a lot about Jesus Christ in a lot of his conversations. And for the most part, for him to come out and apologize, some people think that he might have been sincere about it. And I said, yeah, if he's dealing with that heart, definitely that will happen. And there's a lot of people that I see on the other side talking about Islam just by itself that straight don't even acknowledge Christ. They just say everything about Muhammad, and you can't even bring up the other conversations, because they would just say he's just a prophet. And that's where you got to draw the line right there. Once they start going into some other stuff and just putting all the focus on Muhammad. And I believe that's where sometimes most of them go wrong. Then you got the Jews. We ain't gonna talk about them today, but they got another conversation. And if it's not dealing with the original way that the scripture tells us to get salvation, you got to keep your armor on. So I just wanted to talk with y'all about that today. Y'all seen this short. If you didn't, go back and see the short, and feel free to answer the question here about if you thought it was a good question that they surround the police department or the mosque versus just kind of get on other believers' case, about what they believe in the doctrine and things like that. But one thing that I can say, I do like the fact that they are letting people know about the truth, as the Russian president did, about the heritage of Christ, about Christ's color, which is in the scriptures. And I heard somebody else say, actually Gino said it. Gino said at one time it didn't matter. He said at one time they paint them in different colors. But then I got another video on Gino where he kind of saying it in a different way. And I guess he was lying with integrity, meaning the first time he said it didn't matter. But then he went on YouTube also to shut down the old one that they use for propaganda and the old one that they use for different methods of control. Because we know that he wasn't pale and had blue eyes. We know that's a fact. And if you study the scriptures, you can see that, yeah, according to the scripture where it tells about his situation, and you study historical information, you can see that, yeah, some people say Middle Eastern, but they got to go a little deeper than that, because when we see the people who is being used and abused today, all around the world, all different places, you go there, sometimes they treating them down because of the skin color. Then you just gotta put the pieces together. That's it. It's like a big spiritual puzzle, and you start putting the pieces together, and you can clearly can see. And we can talk about that another time. But answer the question in the comments here, or you can do it on a short about the police department. I'm surrounding the police department or the mosque, and I'll talk with y'all later on. Y'all have an awesome day. Stay blessed. Make sure you study your word, and with God all things are possible. Peace and blessings.